In the following video, we give 10 top tips for writing your personal statement. If you have any questions, our contact details are at the end of the video. Top tip number 1, proofread. Whether that's getting someone to check it for you or checking over what you've written yourself, don't just rely on spell check to make sure that your personal statement makes sense. This is especially important if you're writing about anything technical. Do double check your spellings. Ever since I accidentally burnt holes in my pyjamas after experimenting with a chemistry set on my 8th birthday, I've always had a passion for science. That sentence just took up 234 characters but gave very little content. Where possible, keep your personal statement concise and to the point. In that example, it's a very wordy way of saying, I've always enjoyed science. And, in this example as well, make it precise and make it exact. If you enjoy chemistry, say it's chemistry. Top tip number 3, don't lie. You might feel that this tip goes without saying, but that includes saying that you've read something on your personal statement when you haven't yet done it. If you write it down, it needs to be true. After all, if you're invited to an interview, you'll almost certainly get asked about it. Number 4, try to avoid cliches, especially the kind that imply you've always wanted to do something ever since you were a baby. It sounds unlikely and takes away from your focus on your actual academic interests. The same goes for if you've used quotations. If it doesn't add value, you don't need to use it. Number 5 is avoid repetition. Although you might think that repeating the same point or idea will ensure that it's memorable and really gets your point across, you need those words instead to focus on why you want to study your subject and what you've done to pursue it. Instead, keep your focus and keep what your argument is in mind. Number 6 is make sure you have the right balance in your personal statement. For competitive universities, at least 80% of the content should be academic focused. The rest should then be anything extracurricular if there's anything further that you want to add. Other universities may place a different value on those things, but for Oxford and Cambridge, our focus will be on your academic achievements and your academic interest in your subject. Number 7 is keep it believable. You may well have done this, but it sounds extremely unlikely. You also want to be specific. Identify things from your academic experiences so far that you can relate to what you want to do. Stay reflective rather than descriptive. Perhaps one of the hardest things about writing your personal statement is finding the balance between the desire to stand out from the crowd and from coming across as a show-off. One way of spotting this is whether you've repeatedly said, I know this or I know that. Getting someone to read over your personal statement can help you look out for this. Perhaps the most important tip is make sure that you engage with your supercurricular activities or other materials that you mention. If you have read books or watched documentaries, don't just write a list of what you've done, but show how you've engaged with them. Although you may have to write more about them, and you therefore can't fit everything in, it's more important to show what you've thought of these things, what you learned, what you questioned, and what you then did as a result of them. And finally, show your personal statement to other people. You'll almost certainly need to write a number of drafts before you're finished. However, do remember that when asking for feedback on your personal statement, it still needs to stay personal to you. And do make sure that you save a copy of it somewhere. If you're invited to an interview, make sure that you've got it to hand so that you can read over it. We hope this video has been useful to you. If you have any other questions, you can watch our other videos or contact us on the details here.